Today on the show, we're diving into the world of economic indicators. These are the numbers that tell us how the economy is doing, things like GDP, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence. But what do these indicators really mean? How are they calculated? And how should we interpret them? We'll break it all down for you with the help of some experts to make sense of the numbers that shape our world. What's up, Broncos country? Get your heart ready, because what's coming could change everything you think about this team. London is going to be the stage for something big on Sunday, and I'm going to tell you exactly why the Broncos are about to dominate the Jets in a way nobody expected. Stick with me until the end because there's information here that's going to give you goosebumps. Let's go! Look, Sunday morning, across the ocean, 7:30 in the morning Mountain Time, the Broncos set foot on British soil to face a completely lost New York Jets. And when I say lost family, I mean truly lost. This team is at the bottom of the AFC East and seems to have forgotten how to play football. But hold on, we're not going to underestimate anyone here. Because even against a weakened opponent, the Broncos need to prove that victory over the Eagles wasn't luck. It was identity, and it's about identity that I want to talk to you about now. Because after going to Philadelphia and showing everyone that this Denver Broncos isn't afraid of anybody, the time has come to confirm it. The time has come to take a team they should beat and simply massacre them. No mercy, no pity, no chance. Because at the end of the day, this victory against the Jets is worth much more than it seems at first glance. Let me explain something to you. Broncos country. The Broncos have already lost 2 games within the conference this year. Against the Colts, against the Chargers, 2 games they should have won. And now, when it's time to recover lost ground, when the moment comes to start building a real playoff team argument, they can't slip up. Because at the end of the season, when they're analyzing tiebreakers, classification criteria, who's in and who's out, every victory within the AFC counts double. So yes, that victory against the Eagles was beautiful. It was exciting. It showed character. But this victory against the Jets, this one is mandatory. This is what separates good teams from teams that are really going to fight for a playoff spot. And the Broncos know this. Now let's get to what really matters. How are the Broncos going to dominate this game? I've picked out 3 names you need to keep your eye on Sunday. 3 guys who can completely define the outcome of this match. And the first of them is Jonathan Cooper. I know everyone's talking about Nick Bonitto, who's the NFL sack leader right now. But I need to give credit to Jonathan Cooper because this guy is doing absurd work that goes unnoticed. Last week, against the Eagles on a 3rd and 15, Cooper locked down Philadelphia's right tackle, made sure Jalen Hurts couldn't escape outside. And that allowed Bonitto to come through inside and bring down the quarterback. Cooper is creating opportunities not just for himself, but for the entire defensive line. And against a Justin Fields who's already been sacked 16 times this season, Family Cooper can do massive damage. Remember when the Broncos turned the season around last year in Chicago? It was Cooper and Bonitto who led all that pressure. Now it's time to do it again. The second name on my list is Jaquan McMillian. This guy is playing at an extremely high level, both against the run and the pass. The Broncos love putting him on the blitz, and last week he got a beautiful sack on Jalen Hurts with a 6-scheme from Vance Joseph. Against Breece Hall, who's one of the most dangerous running backs when he gets into space, McMillian is going to be fundamental. He needs to contain those wheel routes, those plays where Hall goes out to receive and can turn the game around. And the third name, this one's special. Marvin Mims. Look, I know Marvin was kind of quiet against the Eagles, but this game against the Jets has everything to be his. With Cortland Sutton probably getting all the attention from Sauce Gardner, who's their number 1 cornerback, Marvin is going to have space to do what he does best. And Sean Payton knows how to use this kid. Pre-snap motion, putting him in the backfield, creating confusion in the opposing defense. The problem is that Marvin is averaging only 8.5 yards per reception this season. That's low for his potential. 14 receptions in 5 games. He needs to explode, and Sunday could be the perfect day for that to happen. But I want to talk about another guy, too. Adam Troutman. The last time the Broncos played in London, they played against a team that had... Wait, actually, let me talk about our tight end situation. Last week, against the Eagles, Our tight ends showed they can be an important weapon in this offense. First touchdown as a starter for the Broncos. Important plays in the second half, and against a Jets defense that has difficulty covering tight ends. They can have a huge day. If you're true Broncos country, subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss a single play this season. Hit that red button down there because every day there's new content about our team. Now, let's talk about the matchups that are really going to define this game. And the first one is exciting for anyone. Courtland Sutton versus Sauce Gardner. This is the type of matchup we love to see. Our number one receiver against the cornerback who got $1 million contract and is having the worst year of his career. Let me show you the numbers, family. Sauce Gardner has allowed 12 receptions on 22 targets this season. Quarterback rating of 117.2 when they throw at him. 208 yards allowed and 2 touchdowns. Last week, George Pickens had a great game against him. And look, Sauce has a reputation for being very grabby, so Courtland might even get some defensive pass interferences. On the other side, our Courtland Sutton is flying. 26 receptions on 37 targets. 365 yards, which puts him in 11th place in the NFL. 3 touchdowns. But look at this absurd number. 18 first downs on receptions. 6th place in the entire league. When Bo Nix or any quarterback throws the ball to Courtland, the rating is 106.2. And there's more. On third down, which is where the game is decided, Courtland has 13 receptions on 18 targets for 179 yards. 11 of those 13 receptions turned into first downs. This guy is clutch, family. He shows up in important moments. Remember the message Sean Payton gave the team after beating the Eagles? Who are you afraid of? Courtland proved he can face Quinion Mitchell, who besides Pat Surtain, might be the best cornerback in the game today. So why would he be afraid of Sauce Gardner? The guy faces PS2 every day in practice. He went to Philadelphia and had 8-9 receptions against one of the best young cornerbacks in the league. Now just repeat the dose, and when the Broncos' ground game starts working, when Adam Trotman starts making receptions, when Troy Franklin shows up, that's when Courtland will have individual matchups that he simply doesn't lose. It'll stop being 50% chance for each side and become 60, 70% chance for the Broncos, but the matchup that can really define everything, the one that can be the catalyst for victory, is the Broncos' ground attack against the Jets' run defense. And here, family, is where things get really good. The Jets are allowing 140.4 rushing yards per game, 20th place in the league. But the number that really matters is this. They're in 30th place in yards allowed after contact. 3.61 yards after contact per rush. This means they're one of the 3 worst teams in the NFL at stopping running backs after first contact. You know why? Because Quincy Williams, one of the best linebackers in the league, is injured. They really miss him in the middle of that defense, and that's exactly where the Broncos need to attack. And look, in 5 games, the Jets' defense has allowed 702 rushing yards. That's an average of 140 yards per game. 5 rushing touchdowns allowed? This team is bleeding on the ground, and the Broncos need to exploit this without mercy. Last week against the Eagles, the Broncos ran for 94 yards in the second half alone. And that's when Courtland Sutton started to open up too, because Philadelphia's defense had to worry about the running game. The same thing can happen Sunday. If Javonte and Jaleel start dominating, everything else in the offense will flow. The big question is Matt Peart at left guard. Ben Powers is injured, and Peart is going to have to step up. But look, this guy played well in the preseason. He's going to be next to the starters, guys he knows that he practices with every day. You can run some plays where he simply pulls back in open space, attacks someone immediately, gains confidence. It won't be a problem. And then I ask you, Broncos country, do you think the Broncos can run for 200 yards against the Jets? Because I think so. I think this could be one of those games where the ground attack simply dominates from start to finish, where Bo Nix doesn't need to throw the ball 30-40 times. He just manages, makes the easy throws, and lets Javonte and Jaleel do the dirty work. This is the type of game that defines a team's identity. The Broncos showed they can play toe-to-toe with anyone when they went to Philadelphia. Now they need to show they can massacre the teams. They should massacre. without letting the game stay close, without giving hope to the opponent. Because look at reality. The Jets are allowing more than 31 points per game. Their defense is a disaster. And the offense? Justin Fields has already been sacked 16 times. Breece Hall is dangerous, but if you stop him and Fields, this team has nowhere to go. Garrett Wilson will be covered by Pat Surtain. Their second receiver doesn't scare anybody. The Broncos lead the NFL in sacks. They have one of the most aggressive defenses in the league. And if Nick Bonitto, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, all these guys get to Justin Fields frequently, he's going to start making mistakes. He's going to try to make too many plays. And that's when the Broncos defense can create turnovers, because this is one of the keys to the game. The Broncos have only gotten 4 turnovers in the first 5 games, and one of them was from Jonah Ellis on special teams. The defense itself only has 3. That's not enough. Against a quarterback like Justin Fields, who can force things when he's under pressure, the Broncos need to create at least 2 turnovers in this game. Imagine Brandon Jones making a decisive interception. He's already picked off Fields a few years ago when he played for the Dolphins. Why not do it again? Jones has been one of the most consistent defensive additions for the Broncos this year. He almost made a huge play against the Eagles. I have a feeling something big is coming for him, and there's John Franklin Myers, too. Playing against his old team, Jets fans are still lamenting the trade that sent him to Denver. This is going to be personal for him. It's going to be a revenge game. And when a player is motivated like that, family, special things happen. So look at the 3 keys to victory for the Broncos. First, create turnovers, at least 2. The defense needs to wake up in this aspect. Second, run for more than 150 yards. I said 200 before, and I'm sticking with it. The more, the better. And third, don't let Breece Hall run wild. This guy has history against the Broncos. Average of more than 7 yards per carry in his career against Denver. Can't let him turn the game around. On the offensive side, the key is simple. Run, run, run. Team's strength against the Jets' weakness. Establish the rhythm from the start. And if the Broncos win the coin toss, Sean Payton is going to defer to the second half. He loves receiving the ball at the end of the second quarter, scoring, coming out halftime, and scoring again. It's his method and it works, but they have to start well. They have to impose the ground game right on the first drive. Make the Jets know they're going to suffer the entire game. Control time of possession. Get out to a quick 7-0, 14-0 lead, and never let the Jets believe they have a chance. Because look, after this game, the Broncos are going to play 2 straight games against NFC teams, games outside the conference. And after that comes a heavy sequence of games within the AFC. If they want to avoid that win-or-go-home scenario in the final weeks, if they want some breathing room, some margin for error, they need to take advantage of the next 5 games. The Broncos have a very good chance to put together a strong streak here. If they play at the level they showed against the Eagles, if they dominate the Jets like they should dominate them, they're going to be in an excellent position, not just in the wild card race, but even within the division, and this brings me to the most important point of all. This Broncos team has proven they can play with anyone. They were competitive against the Ravens until the final 2 minutes of the first half. They went toe-to-toe with the Bills in last year's playoffs. They went to Kansas City and showed they can compete with Patrick Mahomes. Now it's time to prove something else. That they don't just compete with the big guys, but that they destroy the small ones. That they don't let easy games become difficult games. That when they catch a weakened opponent, they simply finish them off. Because let's be honest here, Broncos country, the Jets are chaos. They're at the bottom of the division. The defense is allowing more than 30 points per game. The offense basically depends on Breece Hall and Justin Fields running. Garrett Wilson is alone in the passing game. They don't have Quincy Williams on defense. This is the type of team you can't let breathe. And the Broncos have all the tools to do this. A defense that leads the league in sacks. A ground attack that's producing 140 yards per game. A rookie quarterback who's growing every week. Receivers who can explode at any moment. A tight end who's starting to show up. Everything is coming together at the right time. And Sunday, across the ocean in London, in front of an audience that rarely sees live football, the Broncos have the chance to put on a dominant performance, to show the entire world that this team is real. that it wasn't luck beating the Eagles, that this defense is legitimate, that this offense has identity. Because at the end of the day, family, it's about building something bigger. It's about creating a winning culture. It's about every player in that locker room looking to the side and knowing that the guy next to him is going to give his blood for him. It's about Sean Payton establishing a standard and the entire team buying into the idea. And the standard is this: don't be afraid of anyone. Solve problems. Win because you have to and because you're simply better. The Broncos handled the Titans. They handled the Bengals. They almost handled the Colts and Chargers, but let them slip away. Now, against the Jets, there can't be almost. It has to be total domination. 7:30 in the morning, Mountain Time. Hot coffee in hand, family gathered, everyone in orange. And the Broncos taking the field to do what needs to be done. So Sunday, when you wake up early, when you turn on the TV and see that English grass, that packed stadium, remember everything I said here. Remember that the Broncos aren't just going to participate. They're going to dominate. So, Denver Broncos family, are you ready? Are you feeling the same energy I am? Do you believe Sunday is going to be an orange massacre in London? Comment down below what you think. Which player is going to be the standout? How many yards is Javonte going to run? Is Cortland going to have more than 100 receiving yards? Leave a like if you're confident in the victory. Share with that friend who's also Broncos country. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Sunday is the day to show these Jets who runs the AFC. It's a day to keep building. It's a day to prove that the Denver Broncos is back to stay among the greats. See you after the game to celebrate another victory. Until then, Broncos country,